Holla ballers, what's going on? It's Preacher, and we are back again on that PTR because they keep flooding that fucking stuff out, man.
Every day, mate. Something new.
Fast. It's juicy. It's cum laden. Yeah, it's a bukkake fest in there.
Oh my God.
And this time we've been checking out how you actually sort out your artifact weapons when it's all coming down. And Andy's joining me, and we both took part in the quest line. So I'm going to give you a brief overview before we get into spoiler territory. Don't worry, I'll warn you before we get there. So, as we know from Andy's video yesterday, you get to go down to the Broken Shore and take part in them world quests that are going to give you resources and stuff. But once you start doing that, you're going to notice that you pick up an item. Ooh. Or several items in the PTR's case, which I'll get to in a minute. And then that's going to send you back to Cadnuts in Dalaran. And what's going to happen here is Blizzard has come up with 7 unique quests for your artifact weapons. And they've divvied it up. So there's a couple of tank ones, there's a couple of healer ones, and then the rest are DPS. And the way they've done it is, if you have 3 DPS specs, you're going to do 3 different artifact quests. So you have variety across all of them. So you do this per weapon. So Andy did the assassination one?
Can't tell you, mate.
Oh, okay. I did the Fire Mage one, and I also did somebody else's. I don't know whose.
I think, I've got to admit, the items that you pick up, they've got the same kind of binding as a tier token.
Yep.
I didn't look what was in mine, but it kind of felt warrior-ish.
Warrior-ish,
yeah.
Maybe. But if you do have multiple DPS specs, you will do 3 different DPS ones.
Okay.
If you have a tank heal DPS, they'll all be different. So there's only 7 different ones, so there is some overlap amongst the classes, but for your individual class, they will all be different. And what this is going to do is take you on a series of mini-stories, and we'll tell you about them shortly. But ultimately, once you finish your mini-story and you head back to Dalaran, you are going to be blessed by the Council of 6. The Council of 6 is going to bless you. So what you do is you stand in Dalaran, you raise your weapon like you did when you got your relics and stuff like that, and they suck out all the Paragon points, and you see all that AP just gets refunded back into your weapon, and then you get to spend that. And it also unlocks your brand new traits. So
now,
don't worry.
Before you jump into that, I wanted to reiterate, obviously we didn't film our reaction, but when you got your points back, you was initially so happy about getting over 47 million points back.
Yeah, I got over 47 million, and this was artifact power 53.
But please continue.
So yeah, you get all your AP back, and you don't lose any power though. I really want to stress that you don't lose power. So if you got all that like 15% extra damage from your extra traits, you still keep that. They're just refunding you your artifact power. So for people who don't have all the traits, you're actually going to get a buff when this happens, because all the weapons are going to be rebalanced once you do this quest to being as if you had 54 traits. So you're getting all that bonus damage is just going to be given to you once you do this Broken Shore quest line. So I want that to be absolutely clear. The only benefit is if you already had all your traits, you get all the AP back. Now, don't get too excited.
And don't here get it too comes.
Excited. Because what they've done is they have massively increased the cost of the traits. So not only do your traits that have 3 points in them currently on live, they now go up to 4, so you get several new traits there. You'll see in the bottom right-hand corner is a new window appears with new traits. Currently, for my Fire Mage at least, there was only 3. The reason we couldn't do the Rogue one is Andy was unable to finish his because it's broken. But we had the 3 there. It's about 12 points extra, I think we counted. It's about 12 extra traits you're going to be able to get.
Around about 12, yeah.
But what they've done is they've added a base cost. And that base cost, Andy, is...
Well, the first point, mate, before we do that, the first point was $1 million.
The first point was $1 million. I was feeling pretty proud of myself.
Rubbing your hands thinking, this is going to be swag. And then, mate, I'm going to pass this back to you. The next point cost...
15 million artifact power. 15 million artifact power. So what they've done is they've bumped up the base cost of all the traits going forward by 15 million. And then after that, it continues as normal. So if you have all your traits right now and your artifact weapon is capped, you can get 4 traits on the launch of 7.2. Now, don't picnic at the 15 million number. Artifact knowledge now goes up to 40. We get another 15 levels of artifact knowledge. So I've no doubt by the end of that, we're going to be getting many millions of AP. We've started the research orders, so we'll see what that actually pops out of. Because what we might find is the next one actually gives you a huge, huge leap in how much artifact power you're going to get, because these traits are really expensive.
Yep.
Not that surprising. They do want AP to last throughout the expansion. A little bit off-putting for alts again, though.
Mate, I wanted to like chime in and say the fact that we've just had this catch-up mechanic for alts, but even if you've not leveled your alt to the point, if it's 100 between not capping yet, and you get that 20 artifact knowledge, that's great. That's a small catch-up mechanic, but now if you're thinking, well, I don't need to do it straight away, well, you're kind of fucked if you do or you don't.
Yeah, you're a bit
because
fucked.
people are going to be expecting this top-end damage or health or healing because of how far this weapon now goes, and that's a bit off-putting for my ults, I've got to admit.
It's going to be a little bit of a slowdowning on the ults, but bear in mind though, you're only are actually getting 12 extras. You're not getting like all the extras that you got in the initial tier, like the 34.
Yeah.
You're getting another 12 or so, and they're pretty cool. There's new golden trait and there's some extra bonuses. So like my Fire Mage one currently buffs the critical strike chance of people that are near me, which is pretty interesting.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
That is pretty interesting. I get a little group buff. Whether or not, again, always this is PTR. Whether or not that'll stick around or not, I don't know.
Can you see that happening in a raid, though, where you have a mechanic where you have to split? No! No!
I can see me not giving a fuck. You'll get it when you get it.
Unbelievable.
You'll get it when you get it. I'm certainly not going to screw up my rotation for you.
You are, mate. I'm going to stick
not.
to you like stink on shit.
So that's what I'm getting anyway. So that's how it works. Artifact knowledge has gone up to 40, and the base cost currently, again, this is all subject to change. And if it does change, we'll let you know. We've started the research missions. We'll see what our AP jumps by over the next few days, because obviously it takes a while for the research orders to finish. So now we're going to move to spoiler territory a little bit. We're not going to spoil the fuck out of it. So if you don't want the spoilers, then you can kind of zone out and not watch the screen, but we'll try not to include any audio spoilers for you guys, all right? So there's 7 of these quests that we got to do. So Andy did a Vrykul one, I did a Warlock one, which was very cool, and I also did an Assassin's one, which was really cool. Now, in my experience, the 2 that I did were all brand new mini-stories.
Yeah.
They were new characters, new mini-stories. Andy's wasn't. Andy's involved an existing character. We'll get to that in a second. But I'll tell you about my Assassin's one, which I'm not looking forward to on live, honestly, because a vast amount of it took place in the underbelly. Luckily, there's not many people on the PTR, but a vast
Does it
amount
not
of
zone you?
No. There was somebody trying to PvP with me. It was like this druid stood in the middle of the underbelly, and I walked past him, he moonfired me and sunfired me, and just looked at me, and looked back at him and went, no. Just carried on going. But what a cool little story. It took me on an adventure to find out about a cult leader. Now, skipping forward ahead, again, I don't want to do too spoilers on this, but the hilarious part about this is the very last part of this is a floor puzzle. Like we've seen before in WoW, very similar to the stuff we saw in Mist of Pandaria, where you had to go through the vaults and you had to step on the certain colours. It currently isn't phasing you into your own version of that. And if you step off the track, you die. Ensue people just fucking trying to Dunkirk it and being wiped out en masse, like trying to walk through. So because everyone was standing on the wrong ones, which kept changing the tiles. It's also similar to that shaman puzzle where you change one of the totems and it changes the things around you.
Yeah.
Similar to Vault of Wands. It works like that. So you step on a safe one, and then 4 options will open up, and you got to try and find your path through it.
Right.
So people were watching me do it, especially one particular druid, and then going, oh, I get it, and charging in, stepping on the wrong one, killing us both. So everybody was dead at the entrance, to the point where I had red gear.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Little small note, though. Warlocks can use their demonic portal to go across it.
Bastards.
Which was a real fucker. Which actually involved the Alliance Warlocks killing the guy that I need to get to at the other end. And I got there, and it didn't respawn. So me stood there with this druid, had to go back out again, delete the quest, take the quest again, repair all my gear from fully broken, and then had to hope and pray that while I was doing it, nobody else arrived who was also on that quest. Got through it, managed to get it done. But it's a great little quest, running through the underbelly and looking for notes and clues and stuff like that. But that puzzle was fucking really funny. And puzzles are a big theme in the ones I did. What about yours? What did you do?
Well, just before we brush over mine, what was the part? Was that the part where you actually got a notepad and a pen out?
No.
Oh, that's a different part.
It's a different one.
All right, are we leaving that as a top secret, mate?
No, I'll do that next. You do yours, and I'll do my last one.
The one that I started was you meet with the is it called the Six?
Yep, the Council of Six.
Yep, they take you to the top of the Dalaran and they say basically there is an heir to the throne of the Vrykul people. Yeah, we have to find them. Now, as we go down to the towns, we have to ask around for anyone who'd claimed heir or anyone who's kept themselves to themselves, or any sort of runes that might lead us there. And we find the girl called Sigrun. Now, do you want me to go into this?
No, I skimmed, man. I didn't give it
Well
any
done, mate.
details.
All right, we find a girl called Sigrun, who's a relative of Torvald. Not Torvald, sorry, mate. Skovald. No, mate, it's not. Now, obviously, the end game of this is to make her recognized amongst the people and get her on the throne.
Yeah.
Now, there is a character that we run into later who we thought presumed dead, which you get through the story arc, who's obviously not dead. And this is where I'm going to really skim now, because this character is intricate to the story, but it also explains a lot of Scovold's past.
Yeah, great mini story.
It was
Great little
really
fleshing
cool.
out. It's really cool that they've not, like, it's not all like, and then the Legion came.
The dialogue that you're escorting Sigrun, and the person who you meet is really good. And then you obviously have to fight this person, and then that's where my quest bugged.
Yeah, yours was broken.
I thought it was like
on
the end. It's really good though, because as you're going from town to town with Sigrun, you get ambushed by people in the trees of the different races, mainly from the Vrykul, who will not accept her run for the throne, basically.
So it's a little bit like, well, you didn't play, but Witcher 3's Final Island has a lot of that.
Maybe.
Skellige, mate.
Yeah. And each town that you reach, you have to convince the person who would try and be heir to the throne that no, it's not you, it's going to be her. So you have to like give them a whomping, mate.
Ah, okay.
But
cool
yeah, the ending feels like it
couldn't
was going
finish
to be
that
good,
one.
but it's a shame. Yeah, it
Probably
bugged out
wasn't
at
even
the
the
end.
Rogue one anyway.
That's what I mean. Though it felt like kind of Warrior with it being the Vrykul
Yeah, well,
kind
I
of
thought
theme
my
with
last
Valkyries.
one, which actually turned out to be the Fire Mage one,
All right.
was a Warlock one. And the Warlock story I got was very sexy.
Really?
It involved a lot of succubi
Oh, shit,
being
no.
minxes in the Leatherman Lounge.
Little
Yeah, they
dirty
were very
cats.
sexy little succubi. A sister set of succubi turned
with
up.
a kiss in.
Well, they whipped me.
Shit,
They
no.
whipped me. But this really highlighted the puzzle. Did you get puzzles in yours?
No, I did not. Mine was just beat the shit out of.
Right, yeah. So I got a puzzle in my first one, which was the floor puzzle. The
Yep.
second one gave me a puzzle that was like, Blizzard, why? And I'm not going to lie, there may be an easier solution to this puzzle that I just could not see. But all I'm going to say is there's an overloading demon portal. Like I say, it's very Warlock based, this one.
Okay.
Ritzin's involved in this one from the Warlock class campaign.
Cool.
And it has 6 runes on the floor. And it's like, you have to activate the runes, otherwise you're going to kill us both. And I was like, okay. And the way you find out about it is there are 6 tomes in the room.
Right.
With very brief descriptions. Like, one tome will tell you about another rune. And it's a kind of like, this rune doesn't work with this rune and this rune. But this rune works with this rune and this rune.
Oh
and
my
this
God.
rune needs balancing with at least this type of magic. So there's 6 different runes, which represent 6 different types of magic. And they do 6 different interactions. I had to pull out the paper and pen, man.
You did.
I had to pull out the
I
paper
heard
and
you
pen.
stressing out. I was in fucking hysterics.
Because at first, I also didn't know how to reset it, because I was definitely aware that I'd done it wrong.
Right.
So I clicked them, and I thought, okay, like most puzzles in Blizz, in WoW, is like, if you click the wrong one, it kind of like flusters and resets, right?
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
do
yeah.
something and reset.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. You have to tell him to try and utilize the runes, and he goes, okay, I hope this is going to work, and then you die. And you, I was like, motherfucker. So there's no way to reset it after you did that.
Yeah.
So I came back down, I got my pen and paper out, I sat down, I was like, okay, this one is this type of magic and doesn't work with these two. This one is this type of magic and it needs to be balanced with this type of magic and this type of magic. Those 2 types of magic will correlate to these 2 runes, but that rune doesn't work with this rune. Until ultimately I did it. I'll be honest, I did it on my second go.
Yeah.
And the first go was a reset, and I clicked it, and it was honestly a great moment, is that I clicked it and went,
nervous and pressing
yeah,
the
like,
button.
I was listening, and then he went, I think it's working. I was like, oh, fuck yes, dude. Nailed it. Nailed it. Now, I'm not going to lie, there might be an easier way of solving this puzzle. I don't know. But I'm not going to do any more, because I don't think we want to spoil them all for each other. But so far, they've done a really good job of putting in some nice mini-stories. I'd say they took about 20 minutes. You had some bugs, but reasonably speaking, they should take about 20 minutes. Yeah,
Around
and
20 minutes.
that's when you're going to get your new artifact weapons. So there you go. The next thing we're going to be looking at, hopefully, is actually the Gravity Lapse PvP brawls.
We
which
queued
looks
for a bit
so
to that
fun.
today. We couldn't
We've been
get
queued
it.
for about an hour today. We've left it
Yeah.
on in the background. We're actually queued right now while we're talking, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So, unfortunate. We'll try and get in. We'll try and do what we can do. But other than that, that's the artifact weapon system, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Arrivederci.
Bye-bye.